Hi, Karen. Happy, let's see, October 30th. It's almost Halloween. It's
Ooh.
so exciting to see you and also hear your beautiful voice in your microphone today.
Katie, as I always say, always wonderful to see you. So glad I got my microphone fucking working again. And listeners, it's a cliche, but it's true. Sometimes you just need to unplug it and plug it back in.
Yes. Yes. It's like we all need rest, I guess, including
Yes.
microphones.
We all need to be reset,
So
including
real.
microphones. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And sometimes those resets are in inconvenient times, like when we want to be recording. But that microphone told you what's up by needing to be unplugged and then replugged in.
Yeah. It's a humbling experience. Yeah.
I'm just glad that it wasn't anything worse. That's
Thank you.
wonderful.
Same.
Whew. Okay, so do you and MLB have any Halloween plans for tomorrow?
We do not yet. I think, though, this is the first time I've lived in a single family home in a very long time.
Oh yeah.
And my neighborhood association has a map that you can sign up onto if you're going to be handing out candy. So I think MLB, I shouldn't say we don't have plans because MLB is like over the moon about handing out Halloween candy. So that is
Oh,
what we are doing.
oh my god, I love
Yes.
this.
Even though, okay, so right now in Indianapolis, this beautiful Friday afternoon, it is 76 degrees.
Oh my god, no. Is it seriously?
Oh yeah, no. It is balmy out. It smells like spring outside,
Oh,
right? By Tuesday, the high will be 44 and the low will be 27.
ooh, damn.
Yikes.
Damn. That is the I'm guessing the Halloween of both of our childhoods
Yes.
because I remember that with so much clarity of like my mom throwing on like 75 layers under my Halloween costumes. I mean, it depended on the year, but like if it's going to be cold, sometimes it's like that day is the first cold day of the year. That's so real.
Yes. Oh my gosh. 1,000%. Like, oh, I'm just gonna wear leg warmers under my Tinkerbell costume. No big deal. Just
Yes.
it's fun.
Just
Casual.
totally fine. I'll freeze. Then there's the people who are like in like leotards and they're like, I'm doing it, damn it. And I'm like, oh, you're just gonna get frostbite now. Good for you.
For some Snickers bars. I mean, it's
Yes.
worth it.
So real. Oh, gosh. Oh my gosh, I love that you're passing out candy. It's gonna be so much fun. And I also love that your neighborhood association is so on top of things that like you can like declare if you're going to be one of the candy houses. That's awesome.
Yes, you can put a little pumpkin on their Google map.
Oh,
And you can even say, like, what? So, my cat sitter, it's very cute. My cat sitter lives really close to here and messaged me about it just to make sure we knew about it and said that, like, you can even put notes in your like entry on the map about like if you're going to have alternatives for kids who have allergies. And I know, yes,
oh my gosh.
it's very organized.
Halloween 2023 is very different from Halloween 1986. That's for damn sure. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have a small Halloween story. I would love to hear a Halloween if you have any Halloween stories. Well, I trick or treated until I was a senior in high school because I'm that big of a nerd, and people were like, "Really?" Like that's like after I was like a sophomore. But I do remember. So when my parents moved to Brighton, which is the town I grew up in, it's near Ann Arbor. I usually say it's like a small town outside of Ann Arbor. Now it's not. I mean, I don't even know, maybe 200,000 people. When we moved there, it was like 12,000 people, and we lived in a neighborhood that only had a few houses. So it really wasn't a trick or treating situation. But my aunt Norma and my uncle Rudy, Aunt Norma being the one that came to me when I was in my hysterectomy OR, like that, the Aunt Norma, like
Oh,
wonderful, like grandmother figure. Anyway, she and my uncle Rudy, they lived in okay, for people who don't know what I'm talking about, she's dead. But like she came to me, this is like she came to me in like a vision, I guess you could say. Okay, that got kind of dark. But anyway, the point is that she and my uncle Rudy lived in this really cool like kind of a, I don't know. I don't want to say leave it to Beaver neighborhood, but kind of leave it to Beaver neighborhood. Everything is a ranch. There's like a lot of like petunias outside. There's some, garden gnomes. Like it's that kind of vibe in this town called Livonia, which is closer to Detroit. And so my mom and dad would always take Eric and I to that neighborhood when we were really little. This is like under 6. And so apparently I would knock on the door and didn't get the memo of what you're supposed to do. And so I would knock on the door, and then when someone opened the door, I would just like run around their house. Like I would just like go and like
What?
my I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to like just I was like, "Oh, this is cool. Someone's opening their door to me. I'm just gonna like case your house, not like tipping things over. I didn't like ruin anything to my knowledge. But like I would just run like a Tasmanian devil, and my mom would have to like chase me. This happened at
Oh my
every
God.
single house until they finally tried to explain, okay, you don't do that. Like you're carrying your little plastic pumpkin. They're going to give you one thing. This is how a civilized 3-year-old does this, Katie. It was a journey for me. So yeah.
Oh my God. All of these years of doing Halloween time episodes of this podcast, I have never heard the story.
You're so right. I forget. I totally forgot about it. Oh my God, it just came to me.
Oh
Karen,
my
do
God,
you
it
have
makes
any?
me so happy. Oh my God.
I can actually see it. I really can. Like I think I was a clown for like 7 years. And so because my grandmother made me a clown costume, which was actually really well done, but like I didn't care that I was the same thing every year. Like Halloween was not what it was or what it is now, where kids like think about it in advance. It was like, "Oh no, this is what you're wearing. You don't have a choice." Like, "Okay, let's go." Like you'll have a few pieces of candy. Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel like all of my like best Halloween stories I've already told
Oh,
on this podcast. I know because I feel like the gays take Halloween to a new level. It's like gay Christmas. I mean, it's
yes.
like Pride is number 1 and then number 2 is Halloween. These are our main holidays.
Yes.
So, yeah, I've always just done ridiculous group costumes as an adult. So, I feel like my best Halloween memories are literally as an adult. As a kid, I'm trying to think. I feel like we moved from the south side of Chicago to the suburbs, which was already a culture shock, but like also, yes, how seriously people took Halloween. I
Mm,
feel like in the city, it was more of a school thing. And I was
okay.
younger, but I feel like Halloween was something we celebrated at school during the day.
Got it.
In the suburbs, Halloween then, of course, is like an all night activity.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah. And I know I've said this, but I feel like my favorite part of Halloween was getting home and dumping out my pillowcase. I didn't have a plastic bucket. Let's be clear.
Oh,
I had a pillowcase
yes.
full of candy and just like categorizing it, like creating the tiers of the order in which I was going to consume this candy.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what were the tiers? Like
Oh.
do you mean like morning, noon, and night how are you were going to consume? Or like or were you like, okay, this is going to be 1 week out, this is 2 weeks out? Like, oh, you have so much self-control, Karen. I cannot even believe this. I had no organization whatsoever.
This was not meal planning my candy. No, this was not that. I'm very flattered that you think that about me. This was like the top tier was like anything chocolate.
Mm,
Most chocolate, like Reese's peanut butter cups, Snickers bars, what else? Milky Ways. I loved Kit Kats, Twix. Like that was the like top tier. I'm eating you first. You're the best candy.
totally.
And then like second tier was just like weird chocolate shit. Like what's the one with marshmallow in it? Why?
Mounds.
Ugh. Oh, I liked Mounds, but
Did
that was
you
definitely a second tier candy.
mm, it's so interesting that you had tiers. Like you're
Oh,
like this is and I'm sure that you didn't allow your siblings to touch the top tier. Did you ever like try to share, or were you nice about it? I wasn't. I was never nice
no.
about it.
Oh, no. I was the youngest. Are you kidding me? I was like, you fuckers get away from my candy. Like, I mean, just there was no sharing is caring. No, 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 no.
No. It's like let me have one thing. I need all of my tier 1 chocolate. Thank you very much.
Exactly. You
Hmm.
have your own money. Go to the hostess store and buy whatever the fuck you want.
Totally.
Yeah. And then I feel like at the very bottom, like, oh, I will eat it if there's nothing else, was like, my God, like those like weird waxy pumpkin things. They
Oh, you
came in
never
like,
like those?
oh no, were they like, oh God, were they like peanut butter?
Oh, maybe I'm not thinking of the right one. I'm thinking of like candy corn, but like the
Ooh,
pumpkin version of candy corn. They're like little
yes.
pumpkins.
Definitely toward the bottom, but not at the very bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's like one tier up from the bottom. I respect that. Yeah, what's amazing is like thinking about that right now, all I can think of is like, wow, that would spike my blood sugar way too high. Like I literally like my 42-year-old self, not worth it. Not worth it. Like that is such a bummer that that's my first thought. Oh, to be 7 again.
Oh my God, you're so right.
Not worth it.
I mean, this is one downside, I think, of like being quote unquote an adult and having a home, is that like really MLB's end game is just having bags of candy in our home.
Oh my gosh, really? That's amazing. And they will they eat it?
Yes. But then of course I'll eat it. I can't have that shit. I can't spike my blood sugar like that. I I can almost already see myself like looking at a Reese's peanut butter cup and gaining 2 pounds.
Oh
Like,
my
oh, well, you looked
gosh.
at it. You no, it's over. Your
So
insulin
real.
spiked.
Yeah, I walk by, just walk by. just I just walk by. I'm like, I might as well have eaten 17 of those.
Oh
Oh my gosh, it's
no.
the same with like, the Reese's what is it? Like the Easter eggs? They're so big. Oh my, those are so good too. Yeah, it's tough. Gosh, I'm so excited for the two of you to be giving out
Yeah.
candy this year though. Like that's so fun. Are you going to dress up when you're giving it out?
I allegedly I don't really not feeling super motivated. I I will report back about what we end up doing.
Okay.
Because MLB, as you can imagine, is very, very excited about this and is insisting that we dress up, even though we do not currently have costumes.
I mean, that's amazing. I guess you could wear your Beyonce costumes.
Oh my God. I know.
Oh gosh, that's so funny. Okay, wait. So
Um,
we always have this like, neighborhood what is it? Like a neighborhood parade where all of the kids walk
oh,
around and they're so cute and they're like two and then there's me and Tyler also in costume. There are very few adults that are in costume, but we usually are in costume. This year Tyler was like, "I'm not dressing up." I was like, "Really?" He always wears like a unicorn onesie that I have and like and I always wear like a blow up unicorn costume. I either have a blow up unicorn costume or a blow up T-Rex costume. So I'll have to decide, game time decision. But then we usually like sit out on our driveway and like say hello to people. The problem is, and we give out candy, of course. But the problem is that like 2 weeks ago, not even 10 days ago, it was like 80 degrees here. It was like what you're describing in India. It was so lovely. Like it was like, oh my gosh, I could just live like this forever. It's
yes.
32 now. It's
Are
absolutely
you
freezing.
serious?
Seriously. Like it snowed on Wednesday when I was out for coffee with a
What?
friend, and I looked outside and I was like, "Is it?" I mean, it was flurries. It was like very hardly, like it was nothing on the ground, but still, I was like, I'm still gonna. I'm actually feeling positive, Karen. I really am
Okay.
about the weather. I'm like, I haven't gotten into the doldrums yet, and I'm hoping to not this year because last year was like 7 months of doldrums. So here's hoping. But like, it is. I'm not gonna be as inspired to sit outside in 32-degree weather. It's gonna be so fucking cold. Oh my god. Like
Oh my God.
and so usually what we've done, which I feel like is such a cop out, but like we'll sit out there for a little bit and like say hello and it's usually like the little cute kids that are like first and then like the high schoolers come later and we just put the bowl out like on top of a chair and like we have a
Yes.
sign that says just like take as much as you want. And the truth is like neither Tyler or I wants the candy in the house and so we actually really want them to like take all of it and so they're like no we and like some of them who have good manners will be like only one. I was like please take five please. So
Oh my gosh. 32 degrees. I mean, that is stunning to me. Oh my
it's
God.
disgusting. I need to move to Bermuda.
Every time I think that, this extreme weather just makes me feel like, well, guess I'm staying in the Midwest forever because we have tornadoes and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, fair. I know. Like hurricanes. Like to live in a place that has like active hurricanes all the time. Like it's just That's weird to
Mm-mm.
say active hurricanes. Obviously, a hurricane's active, but like it's just I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, it's not weird because you live in a volcano zone. Like there are active volcanoes, and then there are just like, no, we're just chilling out volcanoes. So
very
I get it.
true. And also very active wildfires.
Oh,
So not fun. Yeah, this year wasn't so bad, but yeah, natural disasters. Oof. Gosh. Yeah. So in a segue from natural disasters,
and another trademark seamless segue.
yes, hashtag seamless segue. Oh, I haven't told you, Karen.
Oh,
So I know the last time we talked, I had just had a rehearsal or a yes, my
oh, that
play,
audition.
thank you. I'm like, what is the word? I'm like I can't think of the audition. Okay, so the day after I talked to you, I had yet another audition. It was a callback, and there were a lot more people at that audition. And it was again, I was like so in awe of all of these like incredible actors. And the next day I waited all fucking day and I was like, oh my
Uh,
gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not. So I go swimming at night, and a friend of mine who had worked in their theater company is like, don't worry, they call really late, you might still get it. So anyway, so I go to the pool, I come back from the pool, I look at my phone, and I have a message from the female producer that said, we
mm.
had such a hard time choosing, but you didn't make the cut, and like we so appreciate it. And okay, in that exact moment, I like yelped like a yay of happiness. Like I
Oh
really
my
did.
God.
And then it was immediately followed by like 4.7% disappointment. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm down to like 2.3% disappointment. I'm
Out of a
actually,
hundred.
yes, out of 100. Yes. Just to be super crystal clear, I am really happy about it. Like I think it would have been, I mean, I think it would have been really fun, honestly, but it would have completely taken over my life for the next 3 months, which it's fine. Like I was signing up for that. That's okay, but I'm okay that it didn't happen this time. It's like, what the hell? I tried it. That's it.
You really did. And I'm so proud of you for doing it, for going, shooting your shot. So excited for you to maybe continue doing it. So here's a question. Will
Yes.
you go see the play?
Definitely. Yes.
Ooh,
I am
okay.
super excited to see the play because, and thank you for those nice words. I mean, I did feel really exciting and energizing to be like creative in that way, like with a group and like a community and like meeting people. And I was like, okay, those are the ingredients of things that I want in my life. So I'm still looking for that. But yes,
Yes.
the play is going to be over MLK weekend in January. And
Okay.
so well, actually, it's two different weekends, I guess. But as of right now, I don't have any plans to be traveling during that time. So I'm like, I really want to see it. The two guys that I auditioned with, they're the two men in the story or
Oh,
in the
no shit.
play, and they were awesome. They were super nice, and I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, I kind of want to see them shine, and like, I'll be interested to just see how they will memorize that level of dialogue because it's
Mm,
so intense. It's 2.5 or about 2 hours, I guess, of like just straight dialogue. There's no action whatsoever, and you're just staring at each other. And so that's another reason why I'm like
oh my God.
1.0% sad because like that would have been so intense, Karen, to learn that level of dialogue. But like the person who got the lead role, the lead woman, she has got to be a professional actress. Like she was amazing. I was like, okay, she's going to be awesome. Like it'll be good for the audience. It would have been a massive gamble for them to take me on, which is fine. And not even being negative toward myself. Hopefully I'll get like an ensemble role with like a few lines of, you know, dialogue at some point for another thing. We'll see.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it. I mean, in the rom-com version of this story, something will happen to her and something will happen to the understudy, and they'll run out to the audience and be like, oh, is there anybody here who could take this on? And it would be you.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. And then I'll just be like, so glad you asked because I'm in a perfect costume for this exact moment. Like I'll just be
And
like,
I just happen to have memorized 2 hours of dialogue.
yes, I just happened to like la la like here I am. Also, scouts from like William Morris Agency are also here to sign me up for my next commercial. So
Oh my God. Oh my God.
uh
Though, okay, we're laughing, but I will say, I sent you a picture earlier of my like gorgeous coworker who is a model,
yes.
and she started modeling a year ago and she's 40.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just decided she wanted to do it, found an agent, found an agency, and like gets booked for gigs at
No
at 40.
kidding.
Yeah. Had never modeled before.
Oh my God, I love this so much.
I
Wow,
know.
really? That's so cool. Does she like it?
No.
Is she enjoying the process?
I think she loves it.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, she like is such a fun Instagram follow because she'll post these like, I mean, of course, like really elaborate, really beautiful photo shoots, and she's just super stylish. And yeah, it was,
Oh,
it's very inspiring. Like, okay, you can, there are certain things that we can do at any age. Are we going to become ballerinas post 40? Probably not. But these are things we could do.
yes. Olympic divers in my case? No, not going to happen. I really wanted that when I was like 7, but not doing it now. It's okay. I'm all right. I'm all right just not having that in my life. But you're right. There are so many things. There are way more things that we can do than that we can't do. That's for sure.
Yes. And I mean, I don't think you have to be gay to be in the gay games. There are gay Olympics.
Oh,
Yeah, every 4 years, they're all over the world. It is
wow.
usually like a huge deal. And it's just like anybody can sign up and you're like an Olympian
That's
in the gay
amazing.
games. Yes.
Wow, that is so cool. Okay, this actually is a seamless segue into our
Oh,
topic. I mean, it really
nice.
is. It like couldn't even be better, Karen. Wow. Like, thank you for that.
Yes.
That's amazing. Okay, first off, thank you for being willing to talk about this. So, the topic, friends, if you haven't already read the description of this podcast or seen the title, which you must have if you clicked on it, is basically the idea of like how we can challenge narratives that we have about ourselves. So like for your friend, your coworker, it makes me wonder, and I don't know this person, but like I wonder if she ever thought like, oh, I'll never model, or that would be fun, but I've never done it, or and it's like, and now she is. Now she's doing it professionally, and it's like now she has an agent. Like that's such a cool, amazing experience. I think the reason why I had this idea this week was because I have never defined myself as someone who cooks food, like literally
Oh,
ever. Like this is a huge issue for me in my life. So like I I mean, it's nice that Tyler likes to cook, but like lately, and by lately I mean like the last 18 months, like he kind of has gotten out of it. Like he used to find so
oh,
much joy in it and he loved to cook and it was great for me because it was like, oh, I have these great meals. I never really need to learn how to cook. Like it's fine, even though that doesn't even make sense because I could make my own meals and I don't want to rely on someone anyway. So the point is that I have been just like straight up terrified of cooking, Karen. Like truly.
mm,
Like I just have never, it's just never been for me. Like I have tried a few times and I've burnt things, or I'm just like I'm usually when I think about cooking something, I'm already like in a ravenous state, and so I'm like I must eat immediately. So like the prepared food at Whole Foods or at Trader Joe's is usually what I go for. But it's like I'm now realizing like after I had COVID and like, coming off of the hysterectomy or whatever, I want to be more healthy, and I'm like one of the best things I could do is like actually control what I eat and like have it be on my terms. So simultaneous to these thoughts that were like percolating in the back of my mind that I didn't really even know were percolating, I went away for the weekend with some friends a couple weeks ago to this place called Hood River I had mentioned, and we were in the sauna, and my friend Jamie and I were, it's this huge sauna that we went to. It was really cool. And this woman and I were talking, and she was like talking about this moon cycle cookbook. That's literally what it's called, the moon cycle cookbook. And she was saying how the recipes are super easy and they're really like are like aligned to like the time of the month that you're at and also the seasons. And she's like, I basically just don't eat anything that's not in this cookbook. And she's like, just so you know, the front page is ice cream sandwiches. So it's like there, it's not like a diet cookbook. Like it's
right.
just, and she's like, it's like whatever will feed you, and it's like all about your cycle. And I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. And I asked her, I was like, well, how do you feel? And she's like, honestly, I have not felt this good in 10 years. She's like,
Oh,
I have never like not, or maybe she just said like she's never remembered feeling this good. And so I was like, when something just hits you when it's supposed to, and it's like you could hear it 1,000 times, but like one time it hits you. So anyway, the next morning I got on Amazon. I bought 4 cookbooks, the
oh my
Moon
God.
Cycle cookbook being one of them. But then I bought all these other vegetarian cookbooks, and this week I made this gorgeous like red lentil and jalapeno and what is it? It's a stew with also like ginger and sweet potatoes, and it's been so nourishing to
Oh
me.
my
Like it's been
God.
so much fun, and I put on some music, and I was like, holy shit, this is actually good. Like I actually have a win, and so I'm gonna try to make my way through this cookbook, and like I I still don't think I can say that I cook because I made one recipe, but like I think if I continue trying and like try not to be negative toward myself, maybe I can say that because I think that like I think there's so many things that I know I do and I'm sure others do as well that like I never do that or I'm not that person or I will never do this thing. And it's like I think it's honestly sometimes hard to even identify what those things are that you say that you never do because they're so innate. And so this was just one of them. Thank you for being willing to talk about this.
Ah, Katie, I love it. I love it so hard. I love this topic. I feel like it's so insightful. And I love this journey.
Thank you. Thank you. I so appreciate your support because it's like I know I mean I just, the negative voices. It's like, "Oh my god, you're a 42-year-old. I can't believe you don't cook." I'm like sweating telling you this right now because it feels so vulnerable, but yeah,
Oh my
what the
gosh.
hell?
I totally hear you. I will say, I quote, I'm making air quotes, I cook, right? There are certain meals that like I feel confident making them. I enjoy eating them. MLB, even if they don't enjoy them, pretends to. Like I feel like I have certain things, but like cooking and being able to cook is such a part of Black culture that I feel the same way that you do.
Really?
Yeah. Like if I'm with my family, very rarely will I cook something. And there are
Oh,
certain family members I would never cook for. Like it's just these women like cook,
yeah.
right? And so I
Mhm.
just, even my grandfather cooks. My grandfather, an amazing cook. Like,
Wow.
yes, just like gives me recipes for things, right? Like old family recipes. And so I hear you. It is a really like, it is a humbling thing on so many levels. Cause I feel like it's also, as you were saying, this like, it's not just like the being able to brag, like, oh, I cook. It's also like, can I feed myself?
That's really the level I'm at right now. Like I'm not
Yeah.
inviting people over for dinner parties. Like it's like no, can I only feed myself on a consistent basis. Like once a week, if I try something new, it's a massive win. Like it's a 100% increase of what I used to do.
Oh my gosh, I love that one.
Ugh,
Yes,
but there are so many. It's like, it's honestly hard to think of all of them. Do you feel like you resonate with this?
1,000%. Yes. Okay, wait. I started writing some of them down. Oh. So the cooking one is a good one for me because I feel like I am also still on my journey. You know, my diet keeps changing. And I feel like for me, it also throughout my life has been really intimidating, even going to the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't cook, you just walk in there and you're like, well, what the fuck, man? I
Totally.
don't
That's
know.
so real. That's so real. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to buy this and this, and maybe I'll make something with it. And then it goes bad. And then you feel bad about it going bad. And then you have to throw away food. And like, I grew up never throwing away food. Like, it's not okay to waste your food. Like, that is burned into my brain.
1,000%. Yes. Oh my gosh. All of those things. And so, like, only I would say in the last few years since I've been eating low carb, do I even feel confident like walking into the grocery store? And the thing about being low carb is that like what everybody says is that you really only shop the perimeter of the grocery store.
Oh, that makes sense. Like the produce section.
Yes, the produce, I eat meat, so the meats, the like dairy, and then I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I am also still on this journey. I feel like the first one that came to my mind when you mentioned this idea of like this story you have about yourself is that whenever anybody says I'm organized, I always am just like, what?
Ooh.
Because I have spent so much of my life, I always had a messy room. I always had like shit everywhere. Like I never felt organized. Like I had my own organization system, but like never felt like capital O organized. And MLB is always just like, what, who even are you? With like this level of, I have trapper keepers. I have like multiple different note-taking systems. I have tried I've had Trello, I love Airtable, I've done Asana, like I do Notion now instead of Evernote, like any organizational like anything, it is my jam. And it's just like, oh, I don't know when I became this person. I spent so much of my life being like, ugh.
So interesting. I mean, I'm with MLB. Like, I feel like you're one of the most organized people I know. Like, you are the queen of Google Docs. Like, you are
I
like,
know.
I mean, you even were organized with your like tiers of Halloween candy as a child. And so like it's just this is amazing.
I mean, let's be clear, that's some fat kid shit. Like that's like
I totally understand. But it's so interesting that you tell yourself that you're not organized. You know, it's like
yeah.
that's the it's like it everyone else can say the things that like and it's almost like at least for me it falls on deaf ears unless myself believe it. And I think that's the thing. It's like the narratives are so ingrained like in our bodies in some ways.
Yes. It's really it's interesting because I feel like as I'm thinking through it, I feel like I always felt disorganized. And I wonder if subconsciously I have spent however many years post therapy, like trying to unravel that narrative about myself, like
Mm-hmm.
trying to become really organized without really realizing that that's what I was doing. Like, I feel
Yes.
like that is not something about myself that I loved. And so I feel like I've just tried to unwind it.
Yes. That's amazing. And now do you feel that you still have that narrative or do you feel like no, you've like moved on from it?
Kind of depends. Like, I feel like I still have pockets in my life where I'm like, yeah, no, I'm all over the place. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But for the most part, I feel like, yes, I have an organizational handle on some things.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's amazing. And then that you have the reflection with MLB that you are organized. Like, yeah, I feel like there are so many, like diving into this, there are so many of these stories. Like, I think there's just, I think it's hard, like, again, like to articulate sometimes though, because it's like, I don't know. It's hard to like stop yourself in like the fastness of life, the speed of life, I guess, that
Mm.
can go so fast to think like, wait, why am I not doing this thing? Oh, it's because I never do that thing. Or like, why, like, oh, I could never do this. Or I could or like, or I always do this thing. So I guess I have to keep always doing this thing. Like, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it gets kind of deep. I mean, there are some things that I would never say on this pod that are narratives that are not for public consumption. Some of them are
I,
dark.
I feel, whew, I feel that. I feel like my one I'm willing to say and be vulnerable about is weight.
Mm.
I was a pudgy baby. I like went through a period where I feel like I was very slender and then I was not as a child and like just have struggled with weight and body size and body image and all the things. You and I have talked so much about this like over the years. And over COVID, at one point, I had lost 90 pounds.
Wow.
And I've gained, don't get excited, y'all. I've gained some of that back now. And I'm like, well, I guess the whole maintaining was not, I've got to scale back. But I feel like I had this period of time and I feel still really struggle with like, I don't know how to be this size.
Mm.
Like the story I've always told myself is that like I'm heavy, I'm curvy, I'm overweight. I struggle with my weight. I mean, these are also messages from my family my whole life. And being like slender, like being down 90 pounds, I really was just like, I don't know how to be this person. Like, who even is this person?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like I really even now am still struggling with that because it took so much time to take that weight off. But I'm gonna tell you, I gained 25 pounds in like 3 months.
Oh.
I was like, what the fuck, man? God damn you, Reese's peanut butter cup.
God damn you, Reese's Easter eggs. God damn you, top tier Halloween candy.
Yes. Oh, fuck off.
That's so real though. I so appreciate you sharing that because I think that's relatable to literally every person on the planet, I think. It's like I think it's also that like we compare ourselves to our past selves and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, well, I got to this weight or I got to this place or whatever it is at this point, like why can't I do it now? Or like, oh my
Mm,
gosh, well, I did achieve this thing and I never have before, but what does that mean for my identity? Like this is what we're talking about is like identity. Like this is deep shit. Like this is yeah. I mean, I think for me, one of the vulnerable things I can say outside of cooking is like I am someone who doesn't express anger. And
Mm.
that is something that is no longer true. And yet I struggle so hard with that, Karen, because it's like, especially with people that I love, like it's helped a lot to be with Tyler because he isn't afraid of like getting in a disagreement with me. And I still am afraid of getting in a disagreement with him. I'm getting better about it. And honestly, it's only like in the past like few years that I'm getting better. But like he is like my training ground for like changing this narrative about myself that I can't express anger, that I only am able to express like positive emotions that make everyone feel good. And it's like
Mhm.
I'm good now with him doing it, but I'm not good at doing it with others, and it's really hard. And it's like I think the thing is like underneath that is this narrative of like I need everyone to like me at all times. Like, and so it's like I'm going to make you uncomfortable by expressing anger. Like, oh no, I'm just not going to do that. I'm not the type of person that does that. And yet I'm
Mm.
realizing that over time, me not being the type of person that does that hurts me. Like I am only like betraying myself. Like this actually happened, and I'm proud of myself for doing this. I don't know if I've talked to anything about this on the pod, but I can't say a ton. I don't want to identify anyone, but basically there is a group of people that I'm friends with that were saying some things to me in a joking manner that were like not nice. And it was not, it's hard to describe. It's like, like when everyone's like, "Oh, but we're joking." And like you're like, "Hey, that's kind of fucked up." But like you don't really say anything because you're like, "Is it only me that thinks that's fucked up?" And so anyway, they kept saying this same thing over and over.
Mm.
And it actually went on for a few years, and I felt this like intense anger about it. And I was like, okay, if I had just nipped this in the bud, like if I had the confidence, if I was the type of person that had the confidence to just be like, hey, that's actually not cool. Like if you could just not say that like the first time, then this would never
Right.
have been an issue. But I've never been someone who's like a super fast, witty, like responder to things. Like I like always am just like shocked if people are unkind. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just gonna like sink into a hole and like feel horrible about it. It's like it's a whole thing. Anyway, so also that can change. That narrative can change. I realize every single sentence that I'm saying could change. But anyway, the point is that like I told them, like, so I had a gathering, and a few of these people were at my house a couple months ago, and they said it again. And
Mm.
it was like kind of this gang up situation. And I genuinely don't know what to say when they say this thing. And so I just the next morning I was fucking pissed. I mean,
Oh,
I was so
here.
mad. I love that you're like smiling. You're like, yes. Like just
Uh,
but
right?
like
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, like I was pissed. And so I went for a swim, and I'm swimming, and I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm like, I'm going to tell them. I need to tell them to like put a lid on it. Like, I don't want to hear these comments anymore. Like, done and done. And so I did. I texted them, and it was very pointed. And I was like, hey, I'm like, it hurts me. And also, like, it is really bothering me and Tyler when you say this kind of stuff. If you could please stop saying that, that would be great. And then I also put the caveat of like, I only say this kind of stuff to people that I actually want to get closer to. So if you like, that is the truth. Like, this is, and it was so vulnerable. And I was like, fuck. And so I immediately went from the pool to the sauna to like, just like after I had texted this. And it was like a bomb that I dropped because I was like, oh my God, I actually expressed anger. I expressed like what I actually feel. Holy shit, these people I see all the time. I walk into the sauna. I know my family says sauna. I say sauna. Everyone else is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Sauna for people who are Finnish. It's sauna. Anyway, linguistic story. But like the point is I go into this sauna and I sit down and I'm just like vibrating, Karen. I'm like, fuck, fuck, fuck,
Oh.
fuck, 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 fuck. They're gonna hate me. I'm gonna make them feel uncomfortable. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. And I turn to this guy who I don't know, and I'm like, I don't know if I told you this about this off pod, but I was like, hi, hey, like, can I ask you a question? And like, I just like spewed on him. And I was like, hey, I just did this thing to my friends. And like, I just think that like, it's not cool what they say. And like, I just like, stood up to them, and he was like, fuck yeah, man. And I was like, thanks. And I was like, well, do you
Yes.
think I did the right thing? And he's like, well, I don't know. I've gotten in those types of conversations, and then I get in a fight, and then we like, duke it out. And he was seriously like 50. And I was like, a
Oh
fight,
shit.
like a physical fight? And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, fuck those people. You're not even going to be friends with them anymore anyway. And I was like, this is not helping at all. But
Not
it's just
helping.
like,
Not helping, Doug. Just shut it down.
Exactly. And I was like, I need to get out of this sauna. And so I did. And then I came home and I told Tyler, and he was like, "Oh, you said that?" And he
Oh my
was
gosh.
happy. Like he was very, like, he was like, "I'm so impressed." He was very like proud of me. But the truth is that they responded, thankfully, they responded well. Anyway, this is a very long monologue about anger, but I am working on it. It's slow as hell, but it is hard. It is hard for me to express it, Karen. It really is. And it's also like, that is also a narrative. Like maybe it doesn't have to be hard, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, it is a natural human emotion like any other natural human emotion. We laugh when we get tickled. We get pissed off when our friends are being catty bitches. It's not
Mm-hmm.
okay. I don't know these people. I shouldn't call them catty bitches,
No,
but it sounds
please.
like read the fucking room, right? Like I feel like women, and I'm sure men do this too. I know exactly the experience you're talking about of like other people deciding that something about you is funny without checking with you about whether or not you think that shit's funny.
Yeah,
You don't get to decide for other people that this thing is funny and okay to say.
totally. Totally.
So I hear
Totally.
you. And I am very proud of you for saying something. And it is a muscle. You're going to flex it, right?
So hard. I'm not doing enough curls, dumbbell curls on this. I really am not. Like at the same time, I need to be like grateful to myself that I'm even doing any calisthenics in this region. So like I just, yeah, it's hard. It's
My
hard
God.
when you think you're one person, when you think you're like, "Oh, life of the party, fun person, whatever." And it's like, "Well, no, bitch. I have other feelings." And then they're like, "Oh, how? Are you an actual, you're not a robot?" You know, not that these people are not calling me robot. They're actually lovely humans. They really are. But like at the same time, it was an opportunity to change the narrative about myself.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to hear more.
Thank you.
And it reminds me, we talked about this. I was in New York last week for work, and there were really amazing speakers, and one of them gave a presentation about burnout, specifically burnout
Ooh.
for journalists. Yeah, it was, oh my God, it was so good. Um, I think I can say her, Samantha Ragland. She was just fucking incredible, and her presentation was so good. And
Wow.
one of the things that she talks about, like one of the elements that leads to burnout, are tiny betrayals, like taking on things when you know that you shouldn't. And you and I have talked about how we betray ourselves all the time, but like she was just saying that like they are cumulative, like they build up over time, and you just like every single one adds to this like psychic weight that you're carrying.
Yes.
And I feel like you are reversing that betrayal. Like I am going to be true to myself by expressing my anger rather than being true to this version of me that like doesn't serve me anymore.
Yes. Tiny betrayals.
Mm.
That is so deep. That is so real though. Oh my gosh. I love that. I love that framing because I think that everyone can think of, I mean, that could happen like multiple times in a day, honestly.
Yes. And recognizing that you're doing it, like recognizing, I feel like the signals that our bodies send us when we say yes, when we should have said no.
Yes, totally. Totally.
Right. And that we just ignore them. And I feel like one of the beautiful parts about aging, there's a lot of it that's really shitty, but one of the beautiful things about aging is just like, oh, have being insightful, like being able to have wisdom about these things and like just not giving a shit if you offend people. Like I'm going to be true to me. And if you can't handle my truth, then like keep it pushing.
Totally. Totally. And also, it's like those tiny, it's like opportunities to honor yourself or betray yourself present themselves on like an hour by
Mm,
hour basis. I feel like it's just
yes.
so common. Like last night I betrayed myself. Last night I was absolutely exhausted, and I have realized that if I have screen time before I go to bed, it will wire the shit out of me. And so I was lying in bed and I was really, really tired. And then I was like, oh, but I kind of want to know this thing about this person. And like on Instagram, totally unnecessary. And so then I spent the
Mm.
next 45 minutes on Instagram. And then I was like, I'm so fucking tired. And then I turned my phone off and I was like, God damn it. I was like, why did I do that? Because like it just then made me exhausted. And so it's like, that's, I mean, that's a small example, but it's like, I have another example today before we got on this pod. Like, I have two friends that I'm becoming close to in bed. I really like them. And they were like, hey, do you want to go out for brunch on Sunday? And I was like, shit, I think I have too many things going on this weekend. And like, I have a really busy next couple weeks coming up. And I'm like, but then there's a part of me that's like, well, shit, if I keep saying no to the stuff they're inviting me to, they won't like me. And like, it's like, and I know that's not actually true. I have a base with these people. But the point is that like, I responded and I was like, I'm not sure. And I was like, I need to like get back to you because I have a really busy next couple of weeks. And I was like, oh fuck. I know I would have fun, but I would also be exhausted. And it's like saying no is actually honoring myself. Saying yes could potentially be betraying myself. But all that changes all the time because like maybe I had no plans and then saying yes to them would be honoring myself. It's just like, oh my God, being human is so fucking hard.
My God. Being a human in touch with your emotions and your feelings and paying attention to your body, it's a pain in the ass.
It's such a pain in the ass. And then like sometimes where I do betray myself and I'm not like fully aware that I have betrayed myself. And so then like 2 hours later, I'll just be mad for no reason. And I'll be walking Lucy and I'll be like, what the fuck? Why am I in such a bad mood? And it's like, oh, that's right. Because I betrayed myself 90 minutes ago. But I don't always remember. God damn.
Mm. I'm trying to remember where I heard this and who said this to me about an exchange of energy.
Mm.
I don't know if it was my therapist. I don't know if it was MLB. I don't remember where I heard this. Sorry, I'm not attributing this, but it is exchange of energy, meaning things that you give energy to that give you energy back, and things you give energy to that just deplete you.
Yes.
Like, what are these things? I think it was one of the New York ladies who spoke to us. It's like, what are the things that are like a perfect circle of like, I give it to you, you give it back? And then what are the things that are like, I'm just depleting myself all the time and you're just like a giant energy suck, like person/thing. And
Yes.
I feel like that's what comes up for me as you're describing this like phenomenon of betrayal. Like maybe brunch would be fueling and energizing, or maybe it would just deplete you. It's just hard to know.
It's so hard to know. It really, really is. But that's so interesting to like identify the people and things that fill you up and the people and things that deplete you. And I think those specifically when it comes to people, like that can change, like depending on your exhaustion level or depending on what they're going through or what you're going through. But like yesterday, I had lunch with a friend. Not so great. I feel really
Mm.
bad saying that. Nice person. I really do love this person. I do. I care about her a lot. And yet I came away from it and I was like, oh my God, I need to just like lie on the floor of my car. Like I was like, this is I didn't. I don't have
Oh
enough space in
no.
my car, but that's how I felt.
Just like squished. I just imagine you
Yes,
just like
exactly.
squished under the steering wheel.
Awkwardly, like contort myself. Oh God. Like I just need to like not. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to think about anything. Like, yeah, I'm with you. So real.
Yeah. It is also like this is like, I mean, it's kind of on topic, kind of off, but as we've talked about, like the pandemic changed all of our relationships. And I feel like made us all like, it made it like much easier for me to assess the relationships that were fueling in my life and the ones that like just were not. And I definitely had a lot of people in my life who thought that things were funny, just like you're describing, thought that certain things were funny that were not funny.
Yeah.
And not having that energy in my life made me realize, like, oh, that I actually felt shitty when I hung out with that person.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I hate to say it this way, but the shit's true that like being a black lady, people think shit's funny that's not funny. If you have a
Mm,
black friend and you laugh about some shit with them, you need to check with them to make sure it's really okay. Because I
totally.
feel like we all do this thing where it's just like, I don't want to make you feel bad for saying this like super racist thing to me. So I'm just going to let it slide.
Oh,
But I feel like the pandemic really, for me, like lifted this, like, oh, I mean, especially 2020. And like, I feel like really made me like assess my relationship with certain people and the way that certain people move through the world. And it's just like, I am no longer down with hanging out with crazy, super racist people whose behavior I just tolerate because you're my friend.
totally. I think this actually is entirely on topic, Karen. I really do because it's like that is also a narrative. It's like, oh, I've
Yes.
always been friends with this person. Oh my gosh, we met in this
Mm.
time, or we like, or like they're a friend from whatever, or they're a family member even. Like, and if you're not feeling good around that person, like, wait, why is it that you have to be around them all the time? Like, I'm with you. I totally get it. Like, but it's hard sometimes to even question that. It's like, oh, well, that will really cause waves, or that will, whatever, insert and like fill in the blank. But it's like, that seems also narrative like to be, questioning that. That's awesome that you have questioned that, and that you have, sounds like you've moved on from that, hopefully, with some people.
With some people, yeah. And I mean, if you were listening to this podcast, chances are I am not talking about you. Like if we are friends and you listen to this, I'm probably not talking about you. But yeah, it's been very eye-opening. It is. Thank you for relating it to this topic of like, do I always have to be this person that was friends with this group of people or this person or
Totally. Right.
yeah.
Especially when like, I mean, this can get so deep, but it's like, if someone has like been there for you like 10 years ago when you went through a hard thing, and then now it's really toxic to be around them, like, but you can't not be around them because they were there for you. No, just no. Like that, it's easy to say, but it's harder to do, to kind of let people go in a way.
Yeah.
Oof. I actually think a whole podcast about like what fills you up and what depletes you would be awesome.
Yes. Well, and how to, right? Oh my God, totally. And how to recognize it. And yeah, like the ways that we normalize feeling shitty
Yes.
and ignore it. Yeah.
Totally, totally. I mean, it's normalized everywhere, like all
Yeah.
over culture. It's like, you can go to Target and see those drinks of like, oh my gosh, like, I'm like having alcohol because of, I don't know, like I feel like the t-shirts of at Target that talk about like, do you know what I'm talking about? I don't even
Oh
like.
my God. Yes. You make mommy drink.
Yes. Like that's actually printed on a
Yes.
t-shirt. Like it's like, oh my God. Who greenlit that, Target? Like seriously, not okay. Not okay.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I feel like the whole like just just drink your way through it culture also
Yeah.
a podcast topic.
Yes, I totally agree. Oh, I would love to have that topic. That's awesome.
We
Okay,
should do
well,
it during a happy hour
we
just
should
to.
we should do
Both
it
two
four
things.
drinks in. Like,
Yes. Two things can be true at the same time. We can
yes,
have a conversation about alcohol while we're tipsy.
while we're really blasted. Like, tune in, folks, on your next episode. Oh my God, we actually haven't had a happy hour in a really long time. I don't even know
I
the last time. It's
know.
been years. Isn't that weird? Years? Because now
Years.
we're such veterans. We're over 150 episodes, which is wild, Karen. It's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh. It really is. I'm so constantly impressed with us.
So am I. I mean, we are badass goddesses. But really, we are.
It's true.
It's true. It's true. Well, on that note, friends, we bid you a humble goodbye. But yes, we'll see you next week.